This week on the Hawkeye Sports Report, the Iowa men's basketball team closes out the regular season in fine fashion. Now the Hawks look to make a postseason run. The Iowa wrestlers fought some of the toughest competition in the nation at the Big Ten tournament. No first place finishes, but lots of action. And the Iowa baseball team swept its weekend opponents. Up next, a return to the Midwest. This is the Hawkeye Sports Report. Welcome into the Hawkeye Sports Report. I'm Matt Nelson filling in for Nick Dorman this week. March Madness is upon us, and we start with the men's basketball team. Saturday, Iowa wrapped up the regular season with a 74-60 win over Nebraska. Iowa finishes the regular season 20-11, 9-9 in the Big Ten. In that game against Nebraska, Aaron White led the way with 19 points. Melson Basabi put 11 points on the board along with 13 rebounds. And Dev Marble joined his father in the 1,000 career point club. Fran McCaffrey also picked up career win number 300, and it was senior day for Eric May and Chris Rickert. The attention quickly turned from that nice win to the task at hand, the Big Ten tournament and other postseason possibilities. The Hawkeyes are currently on the bubble for the NCAA tournament, and they probably need some more wins. That starts Thursday in the Big Tens as the 6th seed at approximately 8 p.m. Iowa takes on Northwestern, a team it has beaten twice this year. A win Thursday means a Friday matchup with 3-seed Michigan State at approximately 8 p.m. as well. Iowa lost a January home contest against the Spartans by 3 points. Tuesday, the Hawkeyes met the media to chat about postseason play.
How much footage do you show them of your 2 wins against Northwestern versus maybe some games where Northwestern played much better?
Well, we have to show them those games so we see what worked for us, what they try to do to us, what we try to do to them, all those kinds of things. And then we have to show them the recent games. For example, Michigan State, Ohio State, when they played really well. Penn State was a different kind of game. So they really understand, okay, it's one thing to say Abrahamson's playing better. Well, how? What's he doing? What's Demps doing? Ola, he got hurt in our game. He didn't shoot much the first. What do you mean he's more aggressive offensive? Well, where's he getting the ball? We'll show them all that kind of stuff, and it'll be plain to them that they're a different team, and I think in many ways maybe a more difficult team to guard.
Is there ever a danger to looking ahead?
Always, but I don't think we will.
People have always said it's always tough to beat a team 3 times in one season. They're playing better here as of late. They went to Michigan State, only lost by 10. Played well against Ohio State, and obviously we watch a lot of tape as a team and kind of get their tendencies. They got that offense that nobody else really runs in our conference, and you just got to watch a lot of tape and kind of game plan for it. And they're playing well, so I think we'll be locked in. It starts on the defensive end when we play them. So.
The mindset is just win this one game. Coaching staff continue to emphasize that it's not about whether we can make a certain tournament or whether we're going to miss out. It's just winning that one game, being the best we can play every player down the floor, and just continue to win the small things, and hopefully the big things will fall into place. Last game was all for Eric May. His last home game at home. This time is all for us. We're not really sure how our postseason is going to end up, so we're just going to continue to enjoy playing with each other and just have the mindset that we can beat anyone if we play the right way.
It's interesting to me because Lenardi you're talking about, right? Or guys like that, they really don't have as big an impact on the selection committee as people would think. They're not even on the committee. They just are experts that think or predict this and that. So I mean, obviously you see the first 4 in, first 4 out, next 4 out, stuff like that. And I think that's all for TV, to be honest with you. So obviously you see it and you know where we are, but when it comes down to you keep winning games and you put into the committee's mind that they have to take you.
I guess your players probably hear some of the bubble talk and everything. Do you have to say anything to them that people are saying, hey, you got to win 1 game, 2 games, 3 games? Or...
I don't know if if you got to say anything. I haven't really said anything about it. And I say to myself, maybe I should because of what you just said. They're hearing it. Maybe I should address it. But I haven't really talked at length about it. To me, we have to win on Thursday night. That's what we have to do. And you can talk about all that other stuff. We got to win on Thursday night.
The Iowa women's basketball team had its run in the Big Ten tournament last week. Thursday in suburban Chicago, the women knocked off Northwestern 60-55. Seniors Morgan Johnson and Jamie Prunty each had 18 points. Sam Logic chipped in 6 points, 6 assists, and 11 rebounds. Things did not go Iowa's way Friday, though, against second-seeded Nebraska. The Huskers defeated Iowa 76-61. Iowa sits at 20-12 on the season. The Hawks expect to find themselves in the NCAA tournament as an at-large team when the pairings are announced a week from Monday, March 18th. Now, before we take a break and come back with a wrestling recap, let's take a look at this week's Hawkeye Sports Report Play of the Week. This week's Hawkeye Sports Report Play of the Week comes from Iowa's regular season finale on the basketball floor against Nebraska. Good ball movement by the Hawkeyes. What happened there? Nebraska has no idea either. Check out this angle. Oglesby to Olashany to Basabi for the jam in Iowa's 20th win of the season. The Hawkeye Sports Report Play of the Week.
We have a certain way of doing things. You'll see it in the determination of our students, in the classroom and on our fields, in the collaboration among our faculty that lead to great innovation and change, in the vision of our writers, artists, and doctors, bringing the world to Iowa and Iowa to the world. It's the Hawkeye way.
Welcome back to the Hawkeye Sports Report. It was a full weekend of wrestling for the Hawkeyes in Champaign, Illinois. In the end, the Hawkeyes have work to do with nationals just around the corner. The Big Ten Wrestling Championships in Champaign, Illinois. Let's start at 125 pounds. Top-seeded Matt McDonough already with 2 Big Ten titles to his credit, looking for number 3. After a close 5-4 win in the quarterfinals, in the semis, McDonough puts an exclamation mark on his win over Michigan's 4th-seeded Sean Boyle, the fall in a time of 2 minutes, 46 seconds.
You don't just roll around with it. Once you get something secured, you hold it and you cinch it down, you look for that pin.
The finals are rough for McDonough as he loses for the second time this season to Jesse Delgado of the Fighting Illini. 133 pounds, unbeaten, second-seeded Tony Ramos. In the pigtails, Ramos pins Brandon Fifield of Michigan State in 2 minutes, 8 seconds. After a win in the quarters, Saturday's semifinals and a chance for payback against Tyler Graff of Wisconsin. Graff defeated Ramos when they last met 2 years ago. This time, Ramos scores a takedown with just about 20 seconds left in the third for a 3-1 win. However, in the finals, another chance at redemption, but no success for Ramos as he falls in the first sudden victory period to top-seeded Buckeye Logan Stieber 3-1. 141 pounds, third-seeded Mark Ballweg with a pigtail fall in 2 minutes 55 seconds of Indiana's Alex Gregory. After a 6-1 quarterfinal win, drama in the semis against Nick Dardanes of Minnesota. The 2-seed with an apparent winning takedown at the end of the third, but after review, they wave it off. Then in the first sudden victory period, Ballweg with a dramatic takedown of Dardanes for the 3-1 win.
Stayed with it. Almost got taken down at the end of regulation. And kept focused, and they overturned it and came back, and I got the takedown, so it's good.
Things did not go Ballweg's way in the final as he loses to Ohio State's Hunter Stieber 8-3. 149 pounds has bounced around for Iowa this year. Kelly and Grothus in the lineup in most cases, but at the Big Ten's, Josh Jebba gets the start. Jebba loses to 5th-seeded Andrew Alton of Penn State and then is bounced in the consolation bracket by Illinois' Caleb Irvin. Top seed at 157, Derek St. John of Iowa, of course. St. John wins by fall over Michigan's Colin Zierup before a win in the quarterfinals. In the semis, though, James Green of Nebraska pulls the 5-4 upset. St. John fights back for third place in the consolation bracket, thanks in part to a pin of Penn State's third-seeded Dylan Alton. 165, fourth-seeded Nick Moore with a quarterfinal 5-4 win over Minnesota's Cody Yan. Moore loses to eventual champ David Taylor in the semis, bounces back for a win over 6th-seed Pierce Harder of Northwestern before dropping a rematch with Yan for third place. Quarterfinals at 174, second seed Mike Evans of the Hawkeyes with a 12-3 major decision over Purdue's Chad Welch. In the semis against Illinois' Jordan Blanton, a tight match until Evans opens it up with a near fall and a 6-0 win. Like Iowa's 3 other finalists, a rough final for Evans. Matt Brown scores a 5-point move and wins the title 7-3. Ethan Lofthouse has had an up-and-down year at 184 pounds. Seeded 5th, Lofthouse does not take home the title, but takes home 3rd after a solid weekend. After a loss to Nittany Lion Ed Ruth in the semifinals, Lofthouse with a pin of 6th seed Tony Delago in front of his home fans. Time of the fall, 3 minutes, 47 seconds. Lofthouse wins 3rd place match convincingly 8-1.
Thinking good thoughts. I mean, outside every night before I go to bed, every morning I wake up. I mean, it sounds kind of silly probably, but you know, just thinking positive, and you know, when I'm out on the mat, you know, relaxed, just positive thinking.
197 freshman Nathan Burak with his first postseason experience. He reaches the semifinals with 2 one-point wins, including a 4-3 victory in the second period of sudden victory over Caleb Kolb. Burak drops the semifinal match, wins a consolation match, and then loses the 3rd place match to finish 4th. Finally, at heavyweight, Bobby Telford, a 4-0 win over Sparty's Mike McClure to reach the semis. A 1-0 loss to top-seeded Tony Nelson in the semis moves Telford to the consolation bracket, where he picks up a pair of wins to finish the weekend in 3rd place. On the weekend, no champions, 4 second-place finishes and 3 third-place finishes, a team finish of 3rd place behind champion Penn State and runner-up Minnesota. Tom Brands with his eyes on the NCAAs.
Here's the thing, it's not rocket science, and we got to be tougher. I mean, there's no doubt, but we got to do certain things to be tougher. So I could be very generic in my comments, which I am. In my head, there's a lot of specifics.
The Nationals are in Des Moines this year. Wrestling runs Thursday, March 21st through Saturday, the 23rd. HawkeyeSports.com will have all kinds of wrestling coverage, including video, so be sure to visit the official online home of Iowa Wrestling. Back with baseball, softball, and more after this break, and the Hawkeye Sports Report Player of the Week. This week's Hawkeye Sports Report Player of the Week is Sydney Hare. Hare helped guide the Hawkeye women's gymnastics team to a victory over the Iowa State Cyclones Friday, a victory which sealed the Iowa Corn Cy-Hawk Series for the University of Iowa. Hare set a career best in winning the all-around title with a final score of 39.4. Sydney Hare, this week's Hawkeye Sports Report Player of the Week. Welcome back. This is the Hawkeye Sports Report. A tough weekend for senior Jordan Mullen at the NCAA Indoor Track and Field Championships. The senior ran the 60-meter hurdle prelims in a time of 7.724 seconds. That was, get this, 2 1/1000ths of a second out of 8th place, which would have qualified him for the finals. Iowa Track and Field begins the outdoor season March 22nd at the Alabama Invite. As noted earlier, the Player of the Week segment, a good weekend for the Iowa women's gymnastics team. The Hawkeyes wrapped up the Iowa Corn Cy-Hawk Series championship for the University of Iowa by defeating the Cyclones. Iowa's team score 196.375. The Iowa softball team returned from California in time to travel to Maryland. There, the Hawkeyes took 3 of 4 games, including wins over Radford, future Big Ten foe Maryland, and current Big Ten foe Ohio State, though this was non-conference action against the Buckeyes. And baseball had a great weekend in Florida. Iowa swept 3 games in the Snowbird Classic, wins over the Maine Black Bears, the Georgetown Hoyas, and the West Virginia Mountaineers.
Our guys played extremely well last weekend, and I was concerned that we had some tough travel plans. Got in late on Thursday night and had an early morning on Friday, and we were a little sluggish during BP. But you know what, our guys, we made a lot of improvements, especially from an offensive standpoint. In our offensive execution, we did a much better job with situational hitting, getting our bunts down, and it allowed us to score some runs. And then our pitching staff continued to throw the ball extremely well. We got quality starts from all three starters, and things are starting to come together. But we still got a long ways to go before we're a real good baseball team.
That definitely boosts our confidence a lot. Just knowing that we can go down there and sweep somebody, anybody actually, Maine, Georgetown.
We have a lot of confidence, and I think some of the younger guys are starting to perform to their capabilities. Maybe it took them a little bit to get in the swing of things. It took everybody to get a little bit to get in the swing of things, but we've been playing some really good teams, and we know that every day when we go out there, it's all about what we do. And if we take care of our end, the score will take care of itself.
We can't control the weather out there and the field conditions. So, we'll talk to the players today at practice about what our the possible plans will be for the weekend. We're going to definitely get some games in against Nebraska, Omaha. The question will be where. So we're going to be on the road again, but that's okay. It's about just worrying about the things that we can control and getting better every day. And I think that's the biggest thing that we have to do with our players. Is we had one good weekend. Now let's turn that into a little bit of a role and continue to get better every day and not be satisfied with one good weekend.
Iowa is slated to host a 3-game set against Nebraska Omaha Friday at 4 p.m. here in Iowa City, but that is subject to weather and, of course, field conditions, so it's quite possible that contest will be moved. Check HawkeyeSports.com for updated information. We're back in a moment with a complete look ahead at this weekend's Hawkeye action.
The road to the NCAA Women's Final Four begins in Iowa City, and you can be a part of the action, cheering for every dazzling dish. Nice no-look underneath. And watching the big shots fall. Nothing but net. Experience it live at the first and second rounds of the 2013 NCAA Division I Women's Basketball Championship. When you're hot, you're hot. March 24th and 26th at Carver Hawkeye Arena in Iowa City, Iowa. Adult all-session tickets start at $25. Visit ncaa.com/tickets to make a date with champions.
Finally on our show this week, it's This Week on Iowa. As noted earlier, men's basketball starts Big Ten tournament play Thursday against Northwestern, and a win Thursday means a matchup with Sparty Friday night. Nationally ranked, the men's gymnastics squad is in Lincoln to take on the nationally ranked Cornhuskers Saturday. It should be a good one. Women's gymnastics heads to Southern Utah to take on Southern Utah, of course. The action is Friday night in Cedar City, Utah. Women's golf heads west as well. The Hawks are in the Mountain View Collegiate in Tucson, Arizona Friday and Saturday. Men's tennis, they're out in the Bay Area for a St. Patty's Day match with the University of San Francisco Dons. Fun fact, the USF teams were once known as the St. Ignatius College Gray Fog. Men's tennis also takes on the University of Pacific and Fresno State on their Golden State trip. Women's tennis will be out there as well, including matchups against Dartmouth at a neutral site since Dartmouth is in New Hampshire, and also in California, battles against Long Beach State and Cal State Northridge, the Matadors of Cal State Northridge, of course. Softball spends Sunday and Monday in Louisville, Kentucky. 4 games there, including a matchup Monday against the nationally ranked host Cardinals. Finally, as we noted, baseball is slated to have its home opener against Nebraska Omaha on Friday, but the first game of a three-game set Friday, followed by Saturday and Sunday contests. But chances are that will be moved out of state due to weather and playing conditions here in Iowa. They're also supposed to take on Co Tuesday. That is subject to change as well. Whether your favorite Hawkeye team is taking on the Big Green, the Mavericks, or any other nickname team, check them out in person at the event or find results and highlights on HawkeyeSports.com. Have a great Hawkeye weekend. We'll see you next week on the Hawkeye Sports Report.